The truth about McDonald's. One day this kid went to a McDonald's and went into the back room. Ronald sacked him, then Ronald put him in the Big Mac maker and he made his green insides into lettuce. He put some of his raw meat for the tomato, then he used some of the poor boy's skin and he made it for the cheese, and he grilled some chunks of his meat for the meat, and boom, he served it to someone who ordered a Big Mac with a Happy Meal. Ha 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 ha, said Ronald. The end. One day at 5:43 a.m., this kid went to a McDonald's and ended up in Ronald's sack. Then Ronald sliced off huge circles of his skin and grilled them until they puffed. Then he sliced off chunks of his meat for the sausage patties. He used some of the poor boy's snot and he made it for the syrup, and boom, he served it to someone who ordered a breakfast meal. Ha 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 ha, said Ronald. The end. One day this kid went to a McDonald's, and he was so stupid and he went into the back room. Ronald sacked him. Then Ronald sliced off chunks of his skin and he molded them into sticks and deep fried them for the French fries. Then, well, you know what he probably did next. Then he served the food to some who ordered a double quarter pounder with cheese. One day a stupid idiot got a job at a McDonald's. Well, little did he knew that Mac Tonight and the other animatronics were alive. Anyway, the stupid idiot went to the McDonald's, and he freaked out when he saw Mac Tonight come off the stage and walk toward the office. He screamed like a baby when he saw Mac Tonight open the door to his office and come in. So, he played the audio and in it said, "For that great taste," then he left. But then the stupid idiot started eating his food and Mac Tonight came in and grabbed him. Said the idiot. He was in deep doo-doo, then Mac Tonight scooped him, then he wore his skin and left the building. Now that Mac Tonight was in his skin, he could finally be free of making kids into burgers. Also on another note, Mac Tonight looked a lot like the stupid idiot, except for the glowing purple eyes and the creepy smile. People hated him, but if Mac Tonight was too annoyed, he would completely devour the person into bits. One day at the same McDonald's, the manager came into the scooping room and saw his employees' guts all over the scooper and on the floor. He also noticed that Mac Tonight was missing. Mac Tonight was still in the stupid idiot's skin, and was very happy inside of the idiot. But then the manager hired a new employee to work at the McDonald's. Just like the stupid idiot, he freaked out when he saw the animatronics come of their stages. But since that Mac Tonight was not there, the Hamburglar was now trying to take the night guard's place inside him, so he would not have to keep making kids into burgers. Unlike Mac Tonight, the Hamburglar tries to get the night guard through the vents. Anyway, he succeeds with this, and the night guard gets scooped, then he wears his skin and leaves the McDonald's. Some woman screamed in terror when she saw a man with glowing eyes and a creepy smile walk down the sidewalk, then she ran for help, but the Hamburglar got to her in no time and began to devour her in the most gruesome way possible. The woman was no more. The next day at that McDonald's, the manager went back into the scooping room and saw more guts and innards were all over the floor and on the scooper. He also saw that now two of his animatronics were now gone, Mac Tonight and the Hamburglar. As you know from the last two stories, Mac Tonight and the Hamburglar are now hidden inside the employee's skin so they would not have to make the kids into burgers. The only animatronics left were Grimace, Birdie the Early Bird and Ronald McDonald. Anyway, the manager is such a big baby and doesn't want to work the night shift himself, so he keeps hiring new people to work at the McDonald's. He also refuses to tell about the disappearance of his two last employees. Anyway, the new employee went to the McDonald's, and now since that Mac Tonight and the Hamburglar were not there, Grimace the big purple monster is now trying to get under the night guard's skin. Anyway, the way Grimace works is that when he leaves the stage, the night guard's duty is to deactivate him. After a while, the night guard does a very good job up until 5 a.m. That's when the night guard stopped for some reason, and that's when Grimace left his stage and ran into the office and grabbed the night guard and brought him to the scooping room to get scooped. "Oh yes," said Grimace, "squash." The night guard got scooped, then Grimace wore his skin and left McDonald's. Some man began to run in terror from a big fat guy, Grimace and the night guard. He was sadly devoured by Grimace. "Wayla layla lala layla lala lala," said the man. The man died. The next morning at McDonald's, the manager came back and faced even more horror in the scooping room. He also saw that Grimace was gone. He was very curious about the disappearance of his animatronics, but he sucks, so he hired yet another employee. Now since Mac Tonight, the Hamburglar and Grimace were gone, Birdie the Early Bird was now hoping for the night guard's skin for her own. Anyway, the way Birdie works is that she will fly in through the window and rip out his guts. Also, just like the other 3 dead guys, he freaked when he saw the animatronics come off their stages. Then he saw Bertie, so he shut the window. He actually made it to 6 a.m. So he came back for another night. This time, Bertie was taking no chances, so when the night guard shut the window, Bertie smashed through the window and grabbed the night guard for immediate scooping. The night guard screaming in pain as he was being scooped by Bertie. Then Bertie wore his skin like last year's Halloween costume so she would not have to keep making kids into burgers. Then she left the building. A kid started running for home when he saw a man with glowing purple eyes and a creepy smile running at him, so he ran for help, but Bertie grabbed him by the head and ate him. Said the kid. The kid died. The next morning, the idiotic manager went to the McDonald's and expected to see more guts and horror on the scooper. He was right. So he finally decided to suck it up and stay a night at the McDonald's, to see why his employees are getting eaten. The only one left was Ronald, and he was very excited at the thought of wearing the manager's skin to escape the McDonald's. He went to the McDonald's around midnight, and he screamed like a moron dummy child when Ronald jumped off feed stage and sprinted towards the office at an extremely fast pace. The stupid manager locked the door and barred it shut. Ronald just simply laughed and said, "You know, Jim, we always find a way inside." He screamed again like a prepubescent boy as he looked out the window and saw the endoskeletons of Mcdonalds, the Hamburglar, Grimace, and Bertie the early bird. They were all in their human skin suits, but they were becoming rotten beyond belief. But he is a complete and utterly dumb moron, so he believed they were all his past employees, so he screamed, "Help guys, I'm in here and Ronald is trying to get me." They just laughed and said, "This is what you get for not saving us." They burst through the window and blocked the exit. They just stared at him and tossed McDonald's menu items at him while the remains of the Mcdonald's said, "Dinner." The stupid manager curled up into a ball and started saying wee 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 wee. Ronald McDonald had not left, so he burst through the ceiling and grabbed the manager. The other animatronics cheered him on while he brought him to the scooping room of the McDonald's. "Ah ha 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 la 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 la, I don't want to be scooping out," said the manager. Ronald McDonald and the other animatronics tied him up and put him in front of the scooper. Ronald McDonald and the rest mocked him while he got scooped. "Ah ha 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 blah 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 la 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 ha 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 ha," said the manager. The manager died. Ronald McDonald then began to wear him and left the McDonald's. They all ran out of the building with their glowing purple eyes and creepy smiles and began to eat anybody who went into the back alleyway of that part of the city. One man was throwing out some trash when he heard someone saying, "It's Mac tonight." He screamed and saw Ronald, still inside of the manager, running towards him. He began to get devoured in the most painful way imaginable. "Wahalala la 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 la," screamed the man. The man was now a mess of human parts. The McDonald's was later shut down until the company could clean the mess up and refurbish it. It will open again soon. About 2 years later, the McDonald's Corporation reopened the McDonald's and installed the new animatronics called the Fry Kids. They were a bunch of colorful blobs. Mayor McCheese, the mayor of the McDonald's. He loved Big Macs so much that he surgically removed his head and replaced it with a Big Mac. That is how the legend goes. Anyways, they installed that animatronic into the restaurant as their spokesperson. They also installed the professor and he performs shows for the kids while he stares at them with glowing purple eyes and a creepy smile. Also, the new manager, who was even stupider than that last, also put a new Mac Tonight animatronic in the restaurant, just to be safe. The previous animatronics were still running around the back alleyways of the city. They still had their human skin suits. They were starting to rot, and they began to rust. Anyway, this stupid idoid went to the McDonald's to get a job. When he noticed the scooper still had moldy organs on it, he thought little of it. He thought maybe it was Halloween or something. The dumb stupid manager said this job will be safe to take the night watch. The imbecile went into the office and sat there for an hour eating McDonald's when in the distance he heard "Dinnah." He screamed like a gigantic baby when he saw Mac Tonight outside his window. So he played the audio which said "for that great taste," but he didn't leave. So he hid somewhere downstairs in a closet. Then he started hearing something, or rather things, in the closet with him. The Fry Guys animatronics were always making kids into French fries per Ronald's request. They did not want to do this anymore, so they grabbed the night guard and brought him to the scooping room to get him scooped out as soon as possible. Wayla la 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 la, save me I don't want to get scooped and have them wear my skin, said the night guard. They then pressed the red button, then there was a great squish. The night guard fell over and screamed in pain and died from lack of innards. The Fry Guys tore his skin into separate pieces so they could control him as one. So then they left the McDonald's once they were fully clothed in the poor dumb stupid guy's skin. They were very happy to be wearing his skin. They decided to celebrate and eat the first person they say in the hallway. A child with a toy screamed in horror when he ran away from the Fry Guys. The Fry Guys caught up to him and swallowed him inside the skin suit so they could eat him separately. Walla la 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 why ah ha 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 la 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 la, said the kid. The kid died later in the night. The next day at that McDonald's, the stupid idiotic manager went to the flipping McDonald's, and he didn't even bother to check out the scooper. He probably already knew that there was organs and stuff in the room. Anyway, he hired some other stupid idiot to work the night watch. Since the Fry Guys were wrapped inside the other stupid idiot's skin, the professor was now awaiting his opportunity to take the new guy's skin and wear it like a $100 tux. Keep in mind, he wanted to do this because he was forced to make kids into burgers. Anyway, just like the previous idiots, he freaked out when he saw the animatronics come off their stages and wander the McDonald's. Then the professor ran as fast as he could, but it was really only a hobble. The guard still freaked out, and like in any horror movie, he'd see ice to trip and fall and run away as slow as humanly possible. Then the professor caught up, and like the stereotypical idiot, he tripped and fell down and begged for mercy. The professor looked down at him and said, "I can't stop doing this because I love scooping adults. Children, however, is where it crosses the line. According to my calculations, you will scream in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The man inevitably screamed as loud as possible like a little child. This reminded the professor of children, and that made him want to kill him even slower. Then he carried the guard into the scooper room and said, "If the scooper doesn't kill you, the infection will. For that great taste of McDonald's, it's Professor tonight." These were the last words that the guard ever heard. He screamed WALLWELLWLLWLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLLL Mcdonalds and was so happy that he decided to eat the first person he saw. One of the guys in the street was walking by when the professor ran up to him and swallowed him whole. "Weejilj screamed the man. The man then died. The professor then got a job at a sales place, and all his co-workers thought that he was very strange since he always had a creepy smile and glowing purple eyes. After the first week at his job, his co-worker decided the stench of the professor was too much. He reported it to the boss, and the boss fired that worker for being judgmental. Then the fired man went looking for a job. The fired guy went to get a job, but nobody would hire him because he was judgmental. The only place on earth that hires judgmental people is McDonald's. The fired guy got a job under that stupid and idiotic dumb manager who inherited the restaurant from that last dumb guy who was ripped to pieces by his own animatronics. The dumb manager person told the once fired guy that he must work the night shift. The dumb guy this time around was kinda smart because he heard that maybe 10 or so people go missing at this McDonald's every week, so he decided to bring a small camera to film on strange occurrences. The only animatronics left in the restaurant were Mayor Mac Cheese and the new and improved Mac Tonight animatronic. Anyway, this new stupid dumb man went to the McDonald's. He walked past the locked scooper room. The stench reminded him of his retarded coworker at the last job. At about 1 in the morning, the stupid judge guy decided to film the Mayor Cheese guy. He screamed like a baby when he saw that he was gone, then he left the office like the stupid guy he is. He put his camera in front of him and started filming. Then Mayor Mac Cheese guy sprinted down the hallway with the Mac Tonight animatronic, and they scared the living crap out of him, and he screamed like a literal 5-year-old girl and fainted. Once he woke up, he smelled something rotten. He looked around and saw hundreds of moldy children burgers and the rotting carcass of the last employees. Then the door swung open and Mayor Mac Cheese and Mac Tonight stepped in. "We have worked out a compromise, and we have decided Mayor Cheese will get to wear your skin so he will not have to make children into greasy tasty burgers. We also love scooping adults." Without a moment's hesitation, Mayor Cheese began to stuff the burgers down the throat of the stupid idiot. He began to scream in agony and began flailing around. His screams could be heard down the block. After 2 hours of agonizing force-feeding of McDonald's burgers, his head was now 5 feet wide and 2 feet tall, the size of Mayor Cheese's head. Now you are ready to get scooped. In the name of McDonald's, it's Mayor Mac Cheese tonight. These were the last words the man would ever hear. Then he scooped him and all of his innards fell out of the giant hole in his midsection. He like W la 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 once more and died right there. Mayor Mac Cheese then took his skin and wore it and then left the McDonald's. A kid went up to the remains of the night guard with the Mayor Cheese inside it, and said why he is suck a bug head. With that, Mayor Mac Cheese grabbed the kid and pulled him into the skin suit and grinded him into a pulp and ate him. Wow, wow, said the kid. The kid was now nothing short of very dead. The manager was so happy that business at the McDonald's was booming at the expense of all those poor night watchmen's lives being lost. This AJ dumb stupid guy decided to import another one of MBT Slaughter's animatronics. It was Captain Crook, the filet-o-fish craving psycho murderer pirate guy. The kids loved him and he only kidnapped 3 kids every hour, so nobody really felt like calling law enforcement on this joint. Yeah, they're real sickos. Anyway, every frickin' McDonald's needs a night watchman, so the idiot retarded manager decided to hire a stupid moron to work the next night shift. Holy crap, somebody shut this stupid restaurant down. Literally nobody is this dumb. Oh my freaking god, like how many people have to die at MBT Slaughter's sadistic expense? Anywho, the freaking night watchman went to the freaking McDonald's and started freaking his freak out when he saw those dadgum animatronics wandering around the freaking McDonald's. You see, Captain Crook decided that enough was enough. He had had it with these freaking robots murdering and killing night watchmen so they don't have to make children into greasy tasty $5 cheeseburgers. It's not like that's the real reason anyway. I mean, they just freaking start eating people in the alleyways once they escape anyway. The night watchman was in literal shock at what he was seeing. The animatronic Captain Crook started walking towards the office and politely knocked on the office door. The stupid idiot inside began screaming so frickin' loud and said WAKWALWLAWLWLWLWLWLWLWLWLWLWLWLWLWLWLWLWLWLWLWLWLWLWLWLWLWLWLWLWLWLWLWLWLWLWLWLWLWLWLWLWLWLWLWLWLWLWLWLWLWLWLWLWLWLWLWLWLWLWLWLWLWLWLWLWLWLWLWLWLWLWLWLWLWLWLWLWLWLWLWLWLWLWLWLWLWLWLWLWLWLWLWLWLWLWLWLWLWLWLWLWLWLWLWLWLWLWLWLWLWLWLWLWLWLWLWLWLWLWLWLWLWLWLWLWLWLWLWLWLWLWLWLWLWLWLWLWLWLWLWLWLWLWLWLWLWLWLWLWLWLWLWLWLWLWLWLWLWLWLWLWLWLWLWLWLWLWLWLWLWLWLWLWLWLWLWLWLWLWLWLWLWLWLWLWLWLWLWLW walla la 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 la. This moron, I tell you, he's a freaking grown man screaming and crying like he's 12, imagine that. Anyway, Captain Crook opened the door and said, "You ho, I be here to team up with you to stop this evil MBT slaughter from making these horrible god-awful abominat dash." The night guard reacted out of sheer fear and started bashing Captain Crook's head into a mess of wires, gears and circuitry. I am the victor, oh my god, I killed it, I am so good, look at my mommy, get the camera, wolololololo. Captain Crook lied there in a mess of gears and scrap metal. How tragic a fate for someone trying to help. Anyway, this sucker made it to 6 a.m. and went home to his wife and kids. Later that day he got a fine from the stupid idiotic manager for the damage to his most prized possession, an animatronic of a pirate who liked filet-o-fishes. He decided to fire this worker, probably because he was the smartest moron yet who has ever worked at this hellhole. You may be thinking, oh yes, somebody actually made it out alive, yippee, I am such a happy kiddo. No, you freaking moron, that's not the way the world works, you know the drill. Nobody, and I mean frickin' nobody apart from God himself, is able to survive these truths. They wouldn't be truth if they lived, now would they? Nope, just accept this as truth and move on with your life like all the other ones. Anywho, the idiot stupid guy thought that would be it, but one night he was fast asleep in his house and he looked out his bedroom window, and when I tell you he crapped his freaking pants, the third time that day I may add, he saw the scrapped up Captain Crook animatronic outside his window with a very sharp saber that he stole from the frickin' museum. Holy crap, oh my gorge Jiminy creepers cripes, oh golly gosh, Withy will look out the window, the remains of the Captain Crook has come to get us. Captain Crook looked through the window with a devilish grin and said, I tried reasoning with ya, suppressing my binary-coded instincts to not scoop ya, but YA had TA freaking dismantle me. Now I am gonna eat you alive and your entire family. BWAH. Now, you see, Captain Crook hit the junkyard on his way over and constructed some wings and made some fan blades into hands just like some freaking Wolverines. He also seemed to have like 12 legs now, like your common insect, but who could say? The man was having a mental breakdown at this point, screaming the lolowalls and whatnot, while his wife looked in disbelief, thinking this was a prank. Ha, very funny, Gerald. I just know that Matthew from Captain Crook bursted through the window and began ripping into the poor person's abdomen, stuffing it with filet-o-fishes just to add disrespect. Oh my gorge, why are you wasting all those poor filet-o-fishes? Wolla lolo God knew, screamed the stupid idiot. Dad, what is happening? Oh my god, why is Captain Crook feasting on Momo Wolla Walla Walla Walway? Screamed the moron Ignoramus's son. Captain Crook decided to complete his horrific revenge by prying both his fan-bladed claws into the stupid idiot's gut and began feasting on his still beating heart, then proceeding to feed the fleshy fragments to the moron. Walla la 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 Hanua, stop feeding me my own hearta. The man was now dead, finally. The Captain Crook thing looked at the kid and said, "Arg, like I freed myself from the McDonald's, I have freed you from your oppressive parents." With this, Captain Crook used his homemade wings to fly off into the night to find some more humans to devour. The kid was psychologically destroyed and spent the rest of his life in a cabin in the woods hiding under his bed for the majority of his life.